Welcome to the March 12, 2025 proceedings of the City of Cocoa Beach Special Magistrate. My name is Lonnie Groot. Next to me is Michael Bryan, the clerk for proceedings. And Ms. Danielle Crawford is the Code Enforcement Officer of the city. Before we begin, I think I see some new faces. Are other respondents out there who are new? Okay, well, I'll go through the process for you real quickly, okay? These are quasi-judicial proceedings, and for anybody who might be watching out there, these are quasi-judicial proceedings, which means although they're open to the public to come in and watch, they're not public hearings. So these are evidentiary proceedings, and there's an issue of some nature between the city, represented by Ms. Crawford, and the respondents, who I guess you two are two of them. And the city will present its evidence, and then you all will present your evidence. After the city presents its evidence, you can ask Ms. Crawford questions, but also after you present your evidence, Ms. Crawford can ask you questions in the nature of cross-examination. All testimonies under oath, and I'm going to swear everybody in a second. I won't forget that. And at the end of each case, I'll determine what the order will be. The order, whatever it is, will be put into writing within a couple of days, and I'll send those signed orders to Ms. Crawford, and she'll distribute them to all persons. So that's the way we go. And with that being said, I'm going to swear the witnesses in, and if you plan on testifying, please stand up and raise your right hand. You plan on calling any witnesses?
No.
Okay. Let's state your full name. First, ma'am.
Rachel.
Rachel what?
Erica.
Okay. Bring it on.
Danielle Crawford.
Do each of you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matter is not hearing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Crawford, is the docket, the agenda as presented, or are you going to remove any cases?
I'm going to actually remove the first three cases.
The first three?
Yes.
Okay.
They're substantially in compliance, so we'll.
Good.
Yep.
So we're going to remove case number 24-32, 24-317, and 24-319. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that is the goal, to attain compliance, and that means that it has worked. So the first case before us today is a compliance hearing, otherwise known as a Massey hearing, which is the name of the case that causes this type of hearing to have a more legal significance than originally was anticipated. And this is case number 24-245. The respondent is Brendan Miller. The address of the property is 162 Bimini Road. And Ms. Crawford, you may proceed.
All right. Would you like a copy of the PowerPoint and evidence?
Okay. Mr. Miller, you have any objection?
To you getting a copy of the PowerPoint? No, sir.
Okay. And it's submitted as Exhibit 1 for this hearing.
I should have looked at the PowerPoint first.
So essentially what I've given you guys is just a copy of the PowerPoint, the orders, and then the service receipt that I completed the mailings of the orders. So as you stated, this address and reference is 162 Bimini Road, owned by Mr. Brendan Miller. Here's the property. And essentially at the previous special magistrate hearing on November 13th, he was found in non-compliance of section 13-2 for needing a business tax receipt for a vacation rental business, and 26.5-21 as he needed an RS1 registration also for that vacation rental business. It was ordered that he come into compliance within 2 weeks by completing the BTR and the RS1 registration, which he did to the best of his ability. He has been held up by the city as he wasn't able to pass a fire inspection. So we were trying to work to see how we could help move him forward with those applications. And so at this time, he's decided to put his future listings on hold. So blocked out all of his future dates. And we're just asking that he pay the past owed fees for the vacation rental business, and that if he chooses to rent in the future, to register at that time.
Okay, so you're asking for the local business tax fine of $250 to be paid.
Yep.
And what about the $500 on the other violation that was for the first day of the violation?
We do not want that.
You want to rescind that fine?
Yes.
Okay, so that, I don't have the order in front of me, but that was in the order, right? Is that-
Yes, and I believe you do have a copy of the order as well.
Oh, there it is. Son of a gun.
Okay, good.
I was looking at the PowerPoint, my bad. Let me see what I did. Make sure I know what I did. Okay, it says if.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so rescind the fine. There's, this conclude this case basically because
Yes, sir.
because you've got an agreement with Mr. Miller
Yes,
to
sir.
not engage in any violations, right? But you want to keep this order in effect so that any future violations are repeat violations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that understood?
Understood.
And that's what you agreed to?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to enter an order that requires the $250 fine to be paid for the local business tax, plus whatever other penalties that go along with that statutorily. And we'll rescind the second fine and leave the order in place. Otherwise, that will put you in jeopardy of being a repeat violator. You understand? Okay. Okay, good. That's the idea. All right, the order will be entered to that effect then.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'll send you the Massey order as soon as it gets done. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the next case is case number 24-136. The respondent is Rachel Aragon, and the address is 645 South Atlantic Avenue.
Yes. So as you mentioned, this is case 24-136 in reference to Ms. Rachel Aragon. Here is the property. So previously, we have been to the special magistrate and have had a Massey hearing as well in reference to this property having an unregistered vacation
I
rental.
remember this, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So these are the violations. And on the first order, she was issued a $250 fine and a daily fine of $250 for every day she did not complete the RS1 registration. And then on the subsequent order, she was issued a $500 a day fine for every day she was out of compliance for being over occupancy. And that was at January 8th hearing. So since then, a title company as well as Ms. Rachel has reached out about the lien total. So we were able to stop the liens on December 31st, 2024. And so here's a breakdown of the lien total, which comes to approximately $70,000. And so Rachel's here today to discuss that lien with you.
So the request is to reduce the amount of the lien?
Potentially. It's just
Oh, you
me.
haven't heard, okay. Well, let's hear Ms. Aragon first then. And you can get up to the podium if you'd like.
Oh, I'm okay over here.
Well, okay.
Unless you
No.
can hear me, I want you to hear me.
I can hear you, but what works best for you guys?
I can hear.
Excuse me?
I can hear.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
If that makes you more comfortable.
Yeah, so I did talk to Danielle and her boss, I don't have his name in front of me. There were multiple emails going back and forth. I actually did file my application last August. I live in that house, and my husband lives in the house, so we aren't like property rental people. We just were doing it to help pay the mortgage because I have health issues and I'm having to go out of state to pay for those. And so we got into financial issues, and so if we could rent a room or two, that was helpful to us to help with the mortgage. So we rented it for a total of 50 nights, like total, and we did have the paperwork here showing that we were not over the occupancy ever.
You are not what?
We were not over the 8-person occupancy.
Okay.
Ever. Like even back in 2022, before we were living in it full time, trying to move from out of state, we rented it a couple times, and we never violated that. The lady who I bought the house from, she was using it only for a rental, and so I got a lot of that information from her of what I could and couldn't do. I talked to Danielle about that. Obviously, there's some ordinances have been issued after 2022 when I bought it. One of which I have here, I don't know if you're familiar, ordinance 1645. There's a couple of amendments, but the last one from 2023, it does say even like the max occupancy doesn't apply if it's being occupied by an owner. So again, we're trying to do this as we live in this house, so it's not like we're, into this, to make money or do anything like that. And we're looking up things online to be compliant. I did try to file that application when it was brought to my attention by Danielle about the violation, trying to do everything the right way. It wouldn't let me go any further into that application. It was frozen. I have a screenshot of that, and I did email that over to Danielle. She did graciously give me a contact of somebody to help me with that application. I left a voicemail for that person. I never got a call back. Admittedly, and I told this to Danielle, with health issues, I didn't follow up again. I left a voicemail, thought, okay, and then she sent me orders of a mass hearing. I was not in the state for that. I asked if I could do it virtually. She said that was not possible, so I didn't attend that hearing. So now I'm here, I flew back here just for this. I'm trying to sell the house because we can't.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask you. The reason the title company is involved, because you're trying to sell the house.
Yes, sir, we can't.
Not, I
I'm
wonder if
in
it
the
was,
bankruptcy.
you're trying to get a loan, or if you're trying to sell the house.
No, I'm like, financially, I can't, it's like a bankruptcy, like I have to get rid of this. So, in other words, I'm asking for, I don't know, the reduction of fine, I did not complete the application. Again, in the system, it would not let me go forward. It was like frozen, and I have that screenshot if you want to look at it.
Okay, let me ask you some questions. You don't have to answer them.
Sure.
Okay, have you listed the house?
Yes,
Okay, I'm only gonna ask you the listing price. I'm not gonna ask you what you would sell it for. What's the listing price?
2.6.
Excuse me?
2.6 million.
Okay. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to answer the questions. You have a mortgage?
I do.
Will you tell me what the amount of the mortgage is?
It's 2.3 million.
2.3?
I'm not making much money. I have in renovations that I had to, the hurricane damage that I had to do, I took out loans to pay for that. So, again,
Okay,
this is
so
not,
you're selling it for your asking price is 2.6. You have a $2.3 million mortgage. What's the accrued penalty? 70,000?
70,
I have to have a sworn witness tell me.
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what the question, I'm sorry.
Oh, what's the amount of the lien? What's the fine right
Oh,
now?
I'm so sorry. So the lien total is at 70,000.
Okay,
There's the breakdown.
70, even more, or,
It's, yeah, it's even.
okay. So what's your proposal, Ms. Aragon?
So I need to pay the fine for not having the registration through, and I think there's an application fee of, I don't know the exact amount, there's an application fee that was not paid.
Well, let's back up, let me interrupt you. You don't contest that you violated the, not paying the local business tax?
I don't contest that I didn't complete the application.
Well, it's not paid, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't contest that you didn't register the property?
Well, arguable. Like I said, I did register it. I went through that application, and then it locked me out because they wanted the business
Okay, so
tax receipt.
you tried to let's put it, I'm trying to just hear what you're saying, okay? You tried to register it, but it's not registered. However that happened,
Correct.
okay? And you're also asserting now, although it was adjudicated earlier, that you never exceeded the maximum occupancy.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Do you have anything else before I turn it over to Ms. Crawford to see what she says about what you just said?
yeah, and I guess she may answer that question anyway. That spreadsheet that you have pulled up, it says my lien started in 2018. I didn't own the property.
And I apologize, that was a Scrivener's error, and I have it updated on here, and then I also brought updated copies. I'm just
And then
bad at
it also
numbers.
goes into
So hang on, let's make it, I want everybody to be clear about everything that's being said. So what you're saying, Ms. Crawford, is that the $70,000 is all attributed to the period of time that Ms. Aragon owned the property, right?
Correct. So
Okay.
the
Now you can ask any question. Well, that's not true. You're still got the floor. Well, that's not true either. Are you through with your presentation? Or do you want to say one more thing you said?
Oh, no, I guess I just had questions about the
Okay, well,
document.
Ms. Crawford just said it was $70,000, all attributable from when you owned the property. You can ask her a question about that.
Okay, and then again, on that document, it says 2018, I know you said you updated it, I did not receive that.
I have-
And then the lien breakdown, you don't have what year that's applicable for. So I'm trying to figure out,
yeah.
Well, let me ask you, what do you assert the lien is?
so 2022, I rented it for 2 months, not the whole 2 months, but there were a couple days.
So as opposed to 70,000, what do you say the lien is?
So 50 days is what I have. So 50 days times, I don't have the math in front of me. Do that if you like. 250.
That's 12,500, isn't it?
And
Yeah, 12,000, so you're saying the lien should be 12,500.
no, I'm saying if you hold me to your $500 a day and your $250 a day with my 50 days that I actually did rent it out, that's $37,500.
So what are you asserting the lien is? Give me a total.
$37,500.
Oh, 37, okay, all right. Okay, and you'd be ready to pay that?
That's a loaded question. I'm trying to sell it in order to.
Well, I'm not agreeing to it, I can't agree to it, I'm just asking you that question.
Yeah,
Yes, you would pay that?
it depends on if I could do a payment plan.
Well, let me ask this. Do you have anything you want to say specifically, or is this helping the situation?
It is helping the situation.
Well, let me ask you a question then.
Yeah,
You're not going to, the city will not satisfy the lien until you're paid in full, correct?
correct.
So that sort of answers the question about a payment plan. So, and you want title clean, the city won't make it clear until the lien's paid in full, whatever that amount is. So therein lies the issue. Now, Ms. Crawford, you had the floor, so go ahead on.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, again, apologize for the date, Scrivener's error. So the lien started after the first order, which stated if she remained in noncompliance after September 30th, that's when that, of 2024, that's when that lien would begin. So it's September 30th of 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and that's where we collected these numbers. So
And that's where the $70,000, why did it stop? Is there compliance?
Because the listings were reduced back to 8 occupants, so that stopped a $500 a day fine. And then truly, the listing remained up, and there were even bookings in January. But as a courtesy, we stopped that fine also on December 31st.
So it's your position that you could have kept the fine running
Yes.
after September of 2024, but you didn't?
After December 31st, yes, we could
I'm
have
sorry,
kept the
December,
lien.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the city's position? The full $70,000? Or do you agree to any reduction in that lien amount?
We would be agreeable to a reduction. I just would like to hear like what.
Well, Ms. Aragon has said that the way she calculates it is $37,500. Would the city agree to that?
Yes.
Would you agree to pay that? And if so, how much time would you need?
Well, like you pointed out, I have to have my title cleared, so time is of the essence.
I got you.
Somebody who is trying to close on it shortly. So how quickly would that process take if I could make that payment?
How quickly
How
would,
quickly does that process take if I make that payment?
how long does it take you to record a satisfaction? Probably a day.
Probably a day.
And how can I make that payment? Can I do it from savings account? Like, how do you take payments?
I believe finance takes checks or certified checks in person.
So I don't have the ability to do a check or a certified check.
Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty details about how to pay, if there's an agreement about $37,500, I can enter an order reducing the fine on the overall case to $37,500 if it's paid within city. What number of days would you agree?
30 days?
30 days, that's typical. I wasn't gonna, so you would have 30 days to get with the city, and however the mechanics are, which you guys were talking about, which is something beyond me and I wouldn't have anything to do with, but it would be $37,500 the city paid. They issue a satisfaction, record it. Now you've got clean title, at least as to this issue. And in the meantime, I can issue an order that says that, but it reverts back. If it reverts back to this, is that all you have concluded that you're going to go 70,000 max on this case?
Yes, we're not.
Okay, well, I will
pursuing.
enter an order that reduces the overall fine to 70,000, but reduces it to 37,500 if it's paid within 30 days of the date of the order. The order won't be entered until sometime this weekend is what we usually do. So you'll have 30 days from Saturday or Sunday to pay the $37,500, and sooner the better, I suppose, for you.
I was gonna add that, so if I can pay it within like 5 days, does that help in any way?
Oh, you don't have to wait for 30. I'm sure the city will take your money as soon as you offer it to them.
Yeah, I just need to understand, because again, I don't have access to checks or cashier, like the money is in an account, I can only wire money.
The 30 days is just, real quickly, Ms. Aragon, I don't want to hear this particularly.
Okay,
I
sorry.
mean, I'm not saying I want to cut you off, it's just not something I necessarily need to hear, because that you guys are just talking about how to pay. But what I want you to understand is what the orders, the 30 days, all that means is you have 30 days or else it reverts back. That means the city and you have agreed to give you some time. You know, like I said, the city, if you gave the city a check now, they'd be glad to cash it, I'm sure. So,
I do have one question then,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you're in the bounds of doing this. It would be really helpful if I could have a clean title, get the proceeds from the sale, and then pay the fine in full.
well, I know, that's why I asked the question of Ms. Crawford to begin with, because,
That'd be the easiest for everyone.
oh, I know, it wouldn't make, the city's not gonna clear title. If you're gonna close within 30 days, that works.
I am,
You are?
yes. That's what I'm trying to illustrate.
Well,
I
then,
told them,
okay.
She talked to my title company.
I don't think the city cares if the check comes out of a closing proceeds or whatever, as long as it's paid within the 30 days. What I would hope that everybody would want to avoid is, I don't know about anybody else in this room, but I have seen closings not occur on time. And so you're pretty confident that the closing is going to occur within 30 days?
Yes, I have cash.
Okay,
buy.
then the order works then.
Okay.
The order works because it'll give you 30 days and if the proceeds come out of closing, that,
Okay. That
yeah.
answers my question.
you know, it's still funds.
Okay.
That makes sense to you,
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then that's the order I'll enter. To make it clear, reduce the fine to 70,000, then also reduce it again to 30, to establish the total fine at 70,000, to reduce it to 37,500 if paid within 30 days, but if it's not paid within 30 days, it reverts back to the 70. Okay? That clear?
Yep.
Then that'll be the order that'll be issued. And y'all can talk after this. You might want to talk, make sure,
Yeah, I'll ask.
because
Yeah.
you might, if everything's done by wire these days, you might want to give the closing agent the wire instructions for the city and all that. Are there any other cases to come before me today?
There are not.
Okay. That being said, then these proceedings are adjourned.